Warmly welcome to the Shakma English Loop channel, a wonderful place for improving your knowledge through English. I'm Jane. Today we will discover the top 5 typical poets of Vietnamese literature. Vietnam is a country that has a more than 4,000-year history of formation and development. From the country major events to scenes from people's daily lives, they are depicted realistically and vividly through casual and intimate rhymes. We cannot fail to mention the poets and their dedication is a vital part of expanding and enriching the repertoire of Vietnamese poetry. Hence, SMBC will join you today in learning about some well-known Vietnamese poets. 1. Nguyễn Khuyến. Nguyễn Khuyến was born in 1835 and died in 1989. His real name is Nguyễn Thắng, was nicknamed Quế Sơn, also known as Nguyễn Chi. He is a remarkable figure in Vietnamese literature with outstanding marks in lyrical and satirical poetry. He left behind a large literary repertoire of about 800 poetries and a great national poet. Some poems that are known and appreciated by many people are Quế Sơn thi tập, Yên Đỗ thi tập, Bách Liêu văn tập, Cẩm ngữ, and Bạn đến chơi nhạc. In addition, Thu Điếu, Thu Ẩm, and Thu Vịnh are three excellent poems on autumn that make a strong impression. Known as the poet of the Vietnamese villages, Nguyễn Khuyến poetry always had his message toward people. He was a patriot who loved his country and the people, but he was powerless to help, so he used his ability for poetry to express his sorrow and tears for the people. Therefore, his poetry will always be shining light, warming the hearts of many generations. 2. Xuân Diệu. Xuân Diệu was born in 1916 and died in 1985. His real name is Ngô Xuân Diệu, was pen named Trảo Nha, known as the greatest poet among the new poets. He began writing poetry very young, and poems like Yêu, Vội Vàng, Chiều, and Biển helped him become well known. One may say that Xuân Diệu poetry is constantly inspired by love, string, and yacht themes. It reflects a soul that loves life and wants to enjoy every moment fully. In the heart of Trảo Nha, there are always two emotional states. On the one hand, intense, vibrant, and loving life. On the other hand, always wandering, nostalgic, and worried. It is those emotions that weave a distinct style of poetry that can only be found in Xuân Diệu. 3. Hàn Mặc Tử. Hàn Mặc Tử was born in 1912 and died in 1940. His real name is Nguyễn Trọng Trí. He began writing poetry at the age of 16 and was a poet who fled at the same time as Xuân Diệu. He is known as one of the early poets of modern romantic poetry and the originator of Trường Thơ Loạn. Blood and moon are the two images Hàn Mặc Tử uses the most frequently in his poetry. His soul was filled with the love of life, nature, and people. It constantly smokes for the desire to live instantly and painfully. His poems also contain the mental crisis, statement, pain, and despair before life. The works that brought Hàn Mặc Tử closer to you read is Đây thôn vĩ dạ, Đà Lạt trăng mờ, Sầu vạn cổ, Khói hương tan, etc. His poetry forever brings indelible values to Vietnamese literature. 4. Hồ Xuân Hương. Hồ Xuân Hương was a poet that fled around the end of the 18th century to the beginning of the 19th century. Because she was born into a powerful family with Confucian tradition, she was quickly reviled in part by the literary tradition. Hồ Xuân Hương is intelligent and loves socializing with friends, but her love meets many on the left. Because of many misfortunes in life, she deeply expresses the image and identity of the old woman and their desires and dreams in her poems. In addition, she also used the art of unique satirical art to attack, satire, and criticize the ruling class. Known as the Queen of Gnome Poetry, Hồ Xuân Hương left behind about 40 gnome poetry, not to mention Hán, some of the most well-known of which include Bánh trôi nước, Vịnh cái quạt, Tự tình, and others. Hồ Xuân Hương has astonished both contemporaries and posterity with her extraordinary genius of poetry. Her poems will forever be passed on by the values that have survived with time. 5. Tố Hữu. Tố Hữu was born in 1920 and died in 2002. His real name is Nguyễn Kim Thành and his hometown is Thừa Thiên Huế province. Because Tố Hữu was brought up in a poor Confucian tradition with literary traditions, he soon had access to literature. He is renowned for being a politician who has held numerous significant positions in Vietnam's political system and is a typical poet of the country's revolutionary poetry. According to Tố Hữu philosophy on poetry, to have wonderful poetry, first of all, we must build love. We can always detect a strong love for our country in his poetry. Tố Hữu's sorrow in poetry is always oriented toward the we, with great thought given to the living, great affection, and great delight. Tố Hữu's collection of work is highly diverse, and such works can be mentioned, including Từ Ấy, Lượng, Việt Bắc, and others. Despite writing about revolutionary poetry, his poetry is still romantic and lyrical. His contributions to the Vietnamese nation in terms of literary and political values are both worth appreciating. Although living in different eras, there are different styles of poetry creation. Poets all contribute greatly to the repertoire of Vietnamese poetry. Their poetry has deep historical and contemporary value. Cherish, preserve, maintain, and develop the good values for your national literature. Thank you very much for watching. Have a productive, enjoyable week of learning and working.